Sully,
Yeah,
how are you?
yeah, I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Mate, I heard two air defense systems go off literally for 4 seconds twice today in Tehran. That's it.
And
Nothing
and
else.
what do you think that was?
We think it was drones, like small drones or something. Um, and but no one has turned around and said anything's been hit on the ground or any damage or anything. It was just I don't know what it was. I can't tell you, but the guy who I was with is in the army, and he said that sounds like the air defense has just gone off, and he said, and I said, well, what is it? Because there was no explosion. It was just pop, 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 and then that happened twice while we were in the building, and that's it. And I slept through the attack on Karaj, which you said had happened.
What you talking about
Um,
last night? So, guys, on the YouTube, just let me know if it's working. But just on what you were saying, so let just take one thing at a time. So last night, obviously, there were strikes on Iran on multiple locations. Like for example, there was Isfahan. There was the two airports. There was basically it was like 10 different locations in Iran. What was your thoughts on that? Are you saying that were people in Iran talking about it, or what was the situation?
no, not at all. Literally, everyone's just going about their business. The only thing I will say is there was just, slightly less people in the traffic in the morning getting into the office. And that's it. And it just felt like it was eerie in the sense that I knew that you'd said there was bombings, and I knew that there was bombings. And I think the problem is Tehran is so huge, it's so large that even if they were to bomb like any part of it, it's those there's I mean it's a city of 20 million people or something stupid, including Karaj. So well, I don't know the exact amount, but it's a huge amount of people, and it's a huge landmass effectively, and it's at the bottom of these mountains. So are you going to come to Iran?
I wanna come. I wanna come. I've been invited by a few different organizations, and there's two things I'm considering. One's a selfish reason. One's a non-selfish reason. So the selfish reason is I think it's gonna restrict my from what I know is it won't let me. They won't let me back in the US if I go. And the second reason is that these spaces and these interviews, and you definitely won't be able to get these out. Like Ahmed from Prop and Co, a good friend of mine.
Yeah,
He went. We were together in Florida actually, and then he decided to go. And when he went, he just stopped producing any content at all, and he stopped. And then most of the stuff he produced, which was really important, because he was talking about, he went to the school, the girls' school, the children's school. He went to a number of locations, but they didn't. He kind of didn't pull it out till a lot later. And so it's like
yeah.
you have to sacrifice. If you like, I do think what we do is really important. So you kind of have to sacrifice that to go as well. And I just think it's too important. So those one selfish reason, one kind of non-selfish reason.
You're absolutely right in the sense that over here the internet's absolute bollocks, and it's slow, and you can't do podcasts from here unless you've got some special line or another. So you're right about that, and I do think that you're exactly right in the sense you're literally the only person that I get my information from as an Iranian living in Iran, which goes to show. And because I don't stick to Telegram groups. I literally, after I finish what I've got to do for the day, I log in at this time of night because I've been in Inqilab Square, Revolutionary Square, and I come and basically listen to you to catch up on the day. And obviously, I'm watching your tweets all the time as well. So you're right. It's not a good idea. But when this war is finished, you are going to come here and you are going to be my guest, and you're going to meet a lot of really good Iranian people that really, truly, and utterly appreciate all the work you've done, mate.
Well, I can't wait for that.
Truly
First of
appreciate it.
all, looking forward to that for sure, and definitely want to do that. And I'd be honored because, to be honest, like it's been really heartwarming to see the response from the Iranian people in terms of like all the effort that's going in, and it does mean a lot, right? Because like I know this is gonna sound harsh, but during the Palestine, I felt like we were like, even though I'd probably worked harder, probably there was more attacks, there was less appreciation, and we didn't do it for the appreciation. You do it because the right thing. But with from the people of Iran, there's just this high level of appreciation, and obviously, even like the spiritual, and then if you look at it from like the ethical aspect of it, the moral aspect that they have, the spiritual aspect of very much aligns with my own personal belief system. I'm not Shia, but I am like a Sufi, right? And there is huge
Yeah,
parallels when it comes to a lot of philosophical and spiritual belief systems. I mean, like for example, if Abu Hanifa, his teacher was Jafar as-Sadiq. So there's like there's a lot of elements, and like for example, I'm a big reader of philosophy, and a lot of philosophical outlook came from either
yeah.
Iran or Iraq or these type of areas. So yeah, that would be awesome.
Anyway, you're definitely going to be coming over, mate. And as I said, I've come over here, and because I've come over here the way I have come over here, like the guy that had a broken back and decided to come here, even though he didn't have to come here. I could have retired and gone to Thailand and never worked again in my life. And I don't need a job or money or anything. I'm good as gold. But I came over here. I've become a bit of a celebrity, and the fact that I'm your friend and the fact that I come up into your spaces and speak, they're all saying to me, "Is Suleiman your friend?" I said, "Of course he's my friend. I've got him on my WhatsApp, on Signal. We talk to each other all the time." And they're going, "Well, you'll have to invite him over." I said, "I will. Don't worry. He'll come over when the time is right. So hopefully, when it's over, you're going to become a little talisman of the country, mate. You're going to have a very good
That sounds awesome. I know Hoz is cutting out a little bit, but yeah, that is awesome. I'm looking forward to that. You have to show me around. But yeah, I was thinking about going. It was just because of the two
So
reasons I
not now,
said.
mate. Not now. Not
Yeah,
now. You're right. We
afterwards.
need you where you are now, doing this job of just bringing lightning speed news. Lightning.
Did you see, Hoz, did you see the news about Gaza? Hoz, I think he's cut out a little bit. And that's part of the reason we can't go, right? Because unfortunately his internet isn't great because of, the situation in Iran. By the way, if you do want to add to the conversation, request the mic where everyone's here to talk. Uh,
Yeah, Haas is amazing. He's able to just do what he's able to do, Suleiman, to get on there and talk. I'm so glad he's got that interface. But don't forget, Suleiman, you have the invites from the U.S. You've got those invites there, but I'm sure Iran will be on the top of the list, and that'll be awesome. Very well deserved.
yeah, I appreciate it. I don't want Hoz to come back, but maybe his internet isn't great. The let's go to Andrew, where do you live again?
U.S. of A. No, I'm not from here, but I'm in the state of Indiana, not anywhere close. I'm originally from Colorado. I'm out west, Colorado, California area, but all over basically. Many years in the Navy, from the East Coast up in the submarine base up in Connecticut, Groton, Norfolk, of course, Virginia. A lot of time in California and out in Hawaii, but right now, and a lot of time in Texas, Florida, of course, but now home right now is Indiana, and the welcome is always here. And Chicago up there, we'll take you up there to see Andy up in Chicago.
Awesome. Oh wait, I don't wanna get stabbed though.
No, we have you. No,
I'm
Suli, we
I'm
got you
joking. I'm
covered.
joking. I'm joking. I'm joking.
No, I
I've been
know.
Chicago. I've been Chicago. I'm joking.
No,
I'm joking. I'm joking. I'm joking.
but Suleiman, seriously, I've heard it all the time. You're welcome, Gary. I've even got, Gary's got the welcome out there for you down there in Florida. But when you get back here to the U.S. next time, I know it's difficult to make all these stops, but you got the red carpet treatment,
Very kind.
and
Very kind.
yep,
Well, wait a
definitely.
sec, Andrew. You said you were gonna give me the treatment in Vietnam because I might be going there at some point.
Yeah. Hey, let's do this. Do your Iran check in. Let's do Iran. Let's do that. But I'm saying Vietnam. Now, I'm very connected there. My wife's Vietnamese, and I do have very close connections there. To this, in fact, I talk to Vietnam 2 or 3 times a week, and there's some we got I can connect you there in Vietnam. You've got it. That's the place. I mean, I'd be living there right now. Long story short, I'd be there now. My wife had to come here back to the States, but I want to go back there. I love Vietnam.
Yeah,
Absolutely,
Vietnam.
Suleiman. I can definitely introduce you
Yeah,
there. Yep, definitely.
Vietnam is awesome. Okay, let's get back into the politics. Andy, jump in, give us your thoughts. Things seem to be a bit quiet the last hour or so because I was checking the news while I was interviewing, and there wasn't much out there. But
Yeah, it does seem a bit calm, but I mean, I think it's going to pick up again eventually. I mean, just based on the exchange of fire, I don't think Bibi doesn't want this to be done, and I feel like Iran's going to hit back eventually too. Like Iran, no, isn't going to fall for fake negotiations again. They've been burnt so many times, and the Iranians are too smart to fall for that. And yeah, just the way that the Iranians people are smart, that they like the media wants us to believe, oh, all these Iranians are evil, and every time they come into our spaces, we hear them talk, and no, these are great, amazing. These are the most welcoming people on earth. You hear them talk compared to the Zionists, and the Zionists come in and are pro just bombing civilians, and the Iranians are like, hey, we get it. We get your governments are corrupted, but we get that your governments do not represent the will of the people. The majority of the people in your countries do not support this. And like, we get that you stand against this, and the Iranians are thanking us for their support. And versus the Zionists come in and they're like, how dare you not stand with us? You guys are evil. And they just like hurl all these insults at us. So the Iranian people are absolutely incredible, whether it's Haas and whoever else has come in. It's just absolutely incredible to see. And they have and the Iranians have completely and us, the moral resistance, like all of us together, have completely dismantled like decades of propaganda that they've been trying to spew since before a lot of us were even born, since 1979, about, oh my God, these are terrorists and all of this nonsense. No, it's the Gulf states government. It's the Gulf states, Israel, and America that are the terrorists that have put economic sanctions on the Iranians just because they don't like their government. It's the terrorism funding an invasion of their country through Iraq. It's the terrorism bombing a school. It's the terrorism creating ISIS. It's the terrorism, what they did in Afghanistan, what they did in Iraq. That's the terrorism, and people are realizing that it truly is a moral resistance. I mean, just look at how Iran fights back. Like, people are like, oh, Iran's not doing much damage. No, they are doing damage. They're hitting the targets they need to. They just don't flatten apartment buildings with 300 people inside of them. They don't flatten schools with 170 little girls inside of them, because they actually follow a code and fight war the way it is meant to be fight. People are just so sadly used to how Israel fights wars, and that's how war is not supposed to be fought, because there are rules in place, and sadly Israel just in the US and don't play by those rules, as obviously the Gulf countries didn't play by those rules with what the UAE has done with the genocide in Sudan, what Saudi Arabia did with their genocidal war in Yemen in the past. But people are waking up to this and realizing that you can fight and you can win a war while playing by the rules if you actually have a capable army. That is, Israel does not have a capable army, so they have to genocide just to try to keep up, and they're still losing. They're losing the PR war and they're losing the actual war. And yeah, I expect this to pick up again soon. I don't see this just being a one-day thing. I mean, even the sources said Israel is expecting this to go multiple days. And I hope Iran doesn't stop when just because Israel's like, hey, we got tired, we're out of interceptors. Iran should only stop when Trump is ready to sign a deal that meets all of their terms. If Trump's down in the chair in Islamabad with his pen on the paper, then Iran can stop.
yeah, great point. Let's go to White. White, jump in. Is there anything you wanted to add?
Not quite. Let's get to some more speakers.
All right, cool. Let me drop you then. I only have people on here who actually want to talk. Let's go to Ziad. Ziad, thanks for joining us. Hope you're doing well. What's happening? Your country's complicit.
I'm doing very well, Salman. Thanks for the mic. I enjoyed the interview. I enjoy all these interviews that you make. Um, Want to extend my invitation also to Jordan. Um, uh, Please come. We have all the tomatoes that we can feed you. Kosher tomatoes, green tomatoes, fried green tomatoes, barbecue tomatoes, Abrahamic tomatoes, all the tomatoes that you want.
Yeah, but what if the king takes me out? Because I've been calling him out.
No, we'll talk to him. We'll talk to him. Uh, but listen, um, I- I- one thing that grabbed my attention, I want to run it by you and see what you guys think. So if we look at Iran's behavior in the past few years, Iran has been always had the strategic patience, but also
Whoop, cut out.
So yeah, you've cut out. Ziyad, you've cut out. Okay, you might need to rotate back in again. Seems like his audio cut out. We have got some more news, but I have a lot of question marks about this type of news. And it says, "quote: An Iranian official told Al Jazeera Washington has made changes to the draft memorandum of understanding, and this is unacceptable." So not happy with the fact that they've changed the draft memorandum. Also, there was a flight that went from Dubai, Abu Dhabi to Tehran. So that's strange. Why would UAE officials be heading to Iran? Are they about to bend the knee? Or what is going on there? Iran, don't make a deal with the UAE. They banned your boy. Iran, do not make a deal with the UAE. They banned your boy. They cannot be trusted. They are East Israel. Let's go to I don't know. Ziad, I'm trying to bring you up. It's not bringing you up.
Oh,
I don't know. Jump in. Give us your thoughts. How you doing?
good. How are you? Thank you so much for that space going so late last night. Um, I want to thank you for your sacrifice from, your family that when you were talking about your child and going to school, it made me, realize how much time you actually sacrificed to give us these spaces to keep us informed and to be a voice for the world. And I hope your children see you and that they know that their voice does matter in this world and that it is important and that truth will prevail. And your voice is exactly that. So I think you're a fine example of that. But going forward, do you think Trump is like ready to like freak out that he is like no longer, he went to the China meeting with Xi, kind of got like, shoved around. You're no longer, you're like a failing, empire type of thing, right? And then now Netanyahu is like, we're not really going to include you on when we're going to break the ceasefire or not, because there's never really been one. And then Iran's like not even going to bother to tell the United States, hey, they broke the ceasefire. Or like if you don't get them restraint, they're just like, we're just answering directly for ourselves. Like you're not the middleman. Like Trump is looking a little more pathetic on the world stage, like as the days go on. Do you think this makes him more angry with Israel or with Iran or like, and also you were bringing up Gaza a second ago. Were you talking about Gaza in the sense that Iran said that they wanted to include Gaza as part of the deal going forward? Sorry, a couple questions there.
Yeah, great questions. Yeah, Iran always said, if you remember my interviews with Professor Morandi, and I don't know what day it is, I think we've got him on tomorrow or Wednesday. What day is it today? Anyway, it's either Tuesday, it's Wednesday we've got him on, I believe. Tuesday or Wednesday. Basically, I agreed whatever day with him, and then it was like we rearranged it for the day after, but I need to check my notes, but he basically said, "Oh, Gaza's going to be in the deal," but this is now being confirmed that the spokesperson for Hamas has confirmed that Gaza is going to be part of the deal. That Iran did say to them that Gaza is going to be part of the deal. So just think about what's happened here. I think it's important to highlight the significance of this. It's a few key points. One is it demonstrates you can't make a deal with these people, you can't negotiate with these people, you can't bend the knee to these people The only way to get your rights with these people is to resist and continue to resist until you get those rights. And so we look at two different modes by which this was attempted to be achieved. The first one was through the Gaza Board of Peace. The resistance was so told, lay down your weapons and you will get peace. Lay down your weapons and you will continue to have your land despite you fighting for 2.5 years. And so they essentially agreed to the deal. And what happened? The Gaza Board of Peace, a negotiated outcome that was full of these GCC countries and full of these Arab countries in Egypt, all of them came together to steal the land of the Palestinians. And so you saw Israel continue to take more and more land. And I believe they've taken now, initially, I believe it was 40%, and now they're up to 70%. Anthony Aguilar says 80%. So
That's
what
insane.
is, sorry?
I said, that's insane,
Yeah.
man.
And
Wow.
so what is the benefit of not resisting? Well, the benefit of not resisting is you lose your land slowly, like in the West Bank, and even though it's not even that slow there, or you lose your land a bit more faster, as per what is happening in Gaza. The other option is to resist, as per what Iran has done. And if Iran succeeds in their mission, then Gaza is included in that deal, and it means the people of Gaza will finally have freedom. They will finally have their land back. And what happened? How was it? How was that achieved? Was it through bending the knee and making a deal with the Israelis? Was it to work with the Israelis, like the PA or the Gaza border peace? No,
No.
it was done by resisting. And so, shout out once again to Iran. I saw so many people attacked them, and we remained firm because we knew that they were in the right. And people were saying before, or it's fireworks, and they're not fighting for Gaza, or they were saying, oh, it's a theater. But no, we were steadfast in our position that the people of Iran are fighting for truth and justice and fighting against Zionism. And we always said that our loyalty to, in the sense of, is to the truth
Yeah.
and to freedom and to justice. And if Iran hypothetically did not hold those values, then I would not be supporting them, because my position is I have no, my loyalty is only to the truth, justice, and morality. So shout out to Iran, because that's been confirmed now that Gaza is in the deal, as confirmed by the leader of Hamas. So it has confirmed by Hamas, and the spokesperson of Hamas, Hazim Qasim, has confirmed that.
How much time do you think they have though, right? Because so Gaza is like by mileage very small anyway. It's like in American we use miles, so it's like 25 miles long by 3 miles wide at one point, and like maybe the widest it goes to like 7. If they've taken 70 to 80% and rounded all of these people up, now they're more like it's like fishing in a small pond, right? Or like even if you were like bow hunting in like a small pond, and you've got all of the fish wrangled up into one just little tiny section. And now when you're doing things like bombing, which they're continuing to do, they're using these heavy bombs that you would use to obliterate buildings on children and innocent people in tents. How many more times can they sustain that before and now they've stopped off aid? How much more time do we have before this dying genocided population is wiped off the face of the earth? Like I mean, because this thing can stall out and it can drag on, and then they'll have time to just finish what they started, which was ethnic cleansing and genocide. And that, no, I mean, when they use this word Amalek, talking about wiping them out completely, you know what I mean? Like not leaving one surviving member there. And that's been spoken by all of them, all of the leader, Netanyahu, every one of them. How much longer can everyone wait to actually get this thing up and rolling to where they have to get pushed back out of where they're at today? I mean, I feel like the time is running out, and now that they've stopped off any aid coming in again, I just like, this is such a I really wish, like, I hate being an American because you sit there and watch all this stuff that we're doing and that we're aiding in, and I feel so helpless as a person to be able to stop it. And I'm like, I'm frustrated. I'm just frustrated. I just can't believe we're watching this in 2026. I can't, in 4K ultra high definition from 26 angles at any moment, every single day, the onslaught of just innocent people. And now it's been directed towards Lebanon as well. And like Iran is literally the only the only country stepping up with the balls to step up and do this and actually say, no, you can't do this. We're not going to let you do this. This is not happening on our watch, you know? And how dare anybody come against them and say that what they're doing is wrong? Absolutely not. What would you do? What would anybody in this world do if they had the ability to stop a genocide? Would you stop it? And that's what they're doing. Is they're attempting to stop what Israel has put their sights on, which is killing every last Palestinian. I'm sick. I'm sick.
Yeah, totally agree with you there.
Sorry.
So yeah, jump in.
Yeah, thank you. I think Shlomo Musk does not like me. He always likes to drop me. Listen.
No, I dropped you because you were up there and you glitched out, so you weren't speaking. So you were either speaking to yourself, but you were up here, but the audio cut out.
Oh, okay. Listen, if freedom is taken, not given. So how can you not respect Iranians? When we see for over 100 days, the Iranians took to the streets, demonstrating every night, holding the flags of Iran, supporting their government and all that. How can you not respect those? How can you not respect, the 30 million that signed up to defend their country? And this is not just, beautiful talk and stuff. I mean, we had like Uncle Hawes here. He left, I guess, the UK and went to Iran. In the middle of a war, and there was lots and lots of them. Iranians that basically went back to Iran to be with their people. To stand up for their homeland. So how can you not respect that? And you look on the other side. They can hardly recruit. Diapered. I don't want to say the word, but the diapered fools. They're using mercenaries. They're inviting they're actually twisting the U.S. arm to come and fight their fight. So this is what we're seeing on the other end. So that tells you who is attached to the homeland, and if it's their homeland. Now, with regards to timing, in my opinion, I mean, you said it. I don't know. You said the time, but you said Amalek. So if we look at it from a historical point of view, the Amaleks lived 3,000 years ago. And so when they call the Gazans or the Palestinians Amaleks, that means, the Palestinians survived for 3,000 years. So no, the Gazans will survive. It's sad that what is happening, the genocide, it pains all of us, but we will survive. We will persevere. If it was a fight against just Israel and those Israelis, it will be done in a knockout. But because of the support of America and the support of Europe, at most, then it's not going to be a knockout. It's going to be, a win by points. An attrition. This is how it's going to be until America and the West basically says enough is enough. Israel is becoming more of a liability, and we cannot afford to have to keep supporting it. And I think this is what's happening from a populist point of view, in my opinion. Thank you. Hey, Andy.
Thanks for that. Trauma, do you want to add anything?
Yeah, actually, something I didn't get to mention earlier because you caught me off guard while I was making my coffee. Something Rex said that was really, really refreshing to hear and actually made me feel a bit positive in a sea of misery was hearing him openly say that he went to bat for Trump for over a decade to try to convince people that what he was going to do for all of us was good. And the fact that he's willing and able to eat the humble pie and come on air and let people know that he messed up and he wants to turn it around and he wants to speak about things that people are uncomfortable speaking about because they need to hear the truth about what's happening. The fact that there's people out there that still haven't even read the Epstein files yet, I think is a huge part of why people are just not they're not grasping the situation that we're all in, and they're leading to a continued ignorant decline in that regard. So hearing Rex come out and say that in public, and that made me feel really good. I think there needs to be more of that. More people need to put down the dichotomy between left and right and political allegiances, and they need to be able to admit, hey, like I was wrong and I was sold a false bill of goods, especially on the heel of what Alex said, your next guest, which was incredible to listen to, because he was in his last bits of his segment, he was directly describing the decay of American society and the lack of industrialization that's taken place over the last, I don't know, half a century. I'll start there. That is a direct result that feeds into what is happening right now with that layer of disconnect between the American public and the crimes committed by the Epstein empire abroad. Thank you.
Yeah. Ziad, jump in.
Yeah, but what I was saying earlier, I don't know if you guys agree with me on this, but in the past, Iran's behavior has been always, we'll attack back, we'll retaliate back once we're attacked. Now, Iran, of course, included Lebanon in the negotiations, and gave an ultimatum to the entity that do not hit Beirut, do not hit this, and if you do, we will hit you. So the way I look at it is that Israel, of course, hit the southern suburb of Beirut, so Iran hit. So in my opinion, that was not a direct hit on Iran. It was a hit on Lebanon, and Iran hit. So is Iran moving from a defensive to an offensive posture? That's what I noticed, and I would like your opinion on that.
Well, you're asking if they've gone from an defensive to an offensive position?
Yeah.
No, I don't think so. I
With
think
the,
they've gone.
with the,
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
no, with this latest hit, because it was not Iran was not hit directly, right?
Yeah, I don't see it as a offensive to defensive position. I believe that it's the countries that have been placed within the purview of being defended by Iran has expanded. And so if you attack Lebanon, then in defense, you will be responded to, is what's basically happening. So I don't see it as offensive versus to defensive. I see it more as them basically creating a larger map of those that are included in the defensive makeup. Let's go to Messi. Messi, jump in. Messi? Okay, let's move this person. Why come up, man? Do they think it's a locked account as well, so it's not like you're gonna get followers. Okay, Andy, question to you. Sorry, not Andy, Andrew. Andrew, question to you. From a tactical perspective, when you look at the big buildup of assets that are there, what do you think all those assets are there for? Because if you heard Anthony Aguilar, he does think that the assets are not there for no reason. Like, there's a reason you have all the ingredients for a cake in that place, is basically, to use his analogy.
Yeah, Suleiman, just to double check, you're asking me, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I thought so because I heard that that's the only thing that I disagree with Anthony on. And I know that I'm really sticking my neck out there. He is a military expert. I'm not, but I'm basing what I say on over 20 years active duty, U.S. Navy, naval officer, mostly submarine warfare, on major staff, command staff, and system command staff in Washington, Pentagon planning and stuff like that, budget planning, logistics. Now, I can't, it's not unprecedented. It's not unprecedented. And I know Anthony will agree with this, where we have pushed and positioned significant force to feint, F-A-I-N-T, to fake, to mislead, to posture, but not to enact. And Anthony even talked about that. But I'm saying, and this is a counter, and if I'm wrong, I'll say, whoops, thanks, Anthony. But I think with the cake is all the ingredients are all there. All the ingredients are there, and all it's there is to say, I'm going to bake a cake, but they're not actually going to do it because it's going to be a major, major disaster. And even Anthony, Larry Johnson, Matthew Ho, all of the experts weigh in on this and say, yeah, even Pape, Robert Pape, all of them say, yeah, it's a non-winnable situation, but Trump will at least try something to save face. What I'm saving is, based on my experience, is I pray to God that senior military leadership like Alvin Halsey did, who was the former CENTCOM, like Vice Admiral Ketcher did, and that is to say, no, 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 we're not going to do this. And I believe that we won't do it other than this little tit for tat, these little surgical strikes, blowing some stuff up. But, and Suleiman, we'll see, but that's the only thing. I don't think we'll actually see a big show. I think it's just all there to move around and posture. Saber rattling is what I call it. Okay, I'll just land it with this. Why was it? Why was it in Beirut, Lebanon, in 1982? I arrived there as a young Lieutenant JG with the second in support of the 21st Marine Amphibious Unit. Why were we there with massive force and did not do anything other than stand there, twiddling our thumbs and watching genocide go on? And I was heartbroken when I found out, and I've got to say this, remember the USS Liberty. We would talk about the Liberty. The Liberty only happened a few years, relatively speaking, okay, 10, 12 years earlier, but we still talked about it. Why didn't we totally go in there and move the IDF, remove the IDF, or if we're okay, let's say we're going to go take on the opposition, Hezbollah, and we did use the word Hezbollah, we really did. And I know people will say, no, Hezbollah did not exist. And yes, they did. They were in formation. Why didn't we do something? We could have. We had the force there. Why did Reagan recall Admiral Lyons immediately after those Marines were killed? I could go on 1,000 times. Why did we walk away and lose Vietnam? We lost Vietnam. We've lost Iran. That war's over, past tense. So I think it's just a big posturing of a paper tiger. The United States of America is in derision. So is National Zionist Israel. God will not be mocked. Thank God for Iran for standing up against it. It's like I stood there at 2:00 in the morning with that medical doctor in Vietnam when I found out that he was a young medical student when there was a B-52 bombs that went off place out there very close to Pleiku. And I know that area very well. And I said, oh my God, you were there in the 69, 70, 68, 69. He said, yeah, I was there. I was a medical resident. He said the carnage was unimaginable. And when he started talking about the destruction of innocent lives, I was heartbroken. I said, I'm a military officer, former military officer.
Breaking news. Air defense activity is being reported in Tehran and Isfahan. Obviously, it could just be air defense testing. But just to be clear, this is the latest news. Back to you, Andrew.
Yes, and I think we'll see these. I think we'll see the testing and probing. They'll send in missile correction. They'll send in drone. They'll send in all kinds of testing. But I don't think it'll be a massive strike. Or certainly, everyone agrees there will be no massive ground.
Sorry about that, Andrew. I think that was the Mossad, or it might have been my finger accidentally. I can't tell. I can't tell you which one it was. Let's blame Mossad. But sorry, do continue. Oh no, Andrew's been taken out by the Mossad.
Whoa, whoa, what happened?
Well,
That was
do you want
weird.
there's two possibilities. One is the Mossad cut you off. The other one is I accidentally pressed the mute button.
Yeah, I don't know, but all of a sudden I was talking and my microphone got locked out. Okay. But no, Suleiman, I think it'll be a big show, a nothing burger. Blow some stuff up, send in move air tankers around. It's posturing, it's movement of force, but a nothing burger. If we really were going to see a massive strike, forget the invasion, that's not going to happen, but a massive strike, there would be a lot more, far more movement. And and I know Anthony disagrees with me, but there's no way in God's green earth they're going to make a marine amphibious assault even south and coming in south the Gulf of Oman. They're just not going to do it. If I'm wrong, I'll apologize. I just can't see it. It's a suicide mission.
But Andrew, let me ask you this: bringing those assets closer, wouldn't that put them in jeopardy?
Yeah, exactly, brother. Yeah, exactly. It's a suicide mission. It would be just like if I told you, "Hey, I'm going to hand you a garden tool. I'll give you a butter knife. Now, there's a house. You're going to go ring the doorbell, and they're all armed with AK-47s. They're armed, and I want you to go in there and kick some ass and let me know how it goes." It's that insane. There is an overwhelming force in opposition. We do not have air superiority. We do not have air supremacy. We do not have air dominance. And forget the asymmetrical submarine warfare. That's my thing. We won't even talk about submarines. And I could go on for 20 minutes on how insane this all is. I don't have words. I've talked in private. There's a very senior military officer. I talk to him all the time. I say frequently, and he won't come on a space. But he and I have literally talked amongst each other like, what in the hell is going on? We're in another world here. It's like we've walked into I feel like I'm walking through a B-grade horror movie. This isn't happening. It's not happening, but it is. And we got this Hexeth, this complete idiot, a buffoon, walking around talking smack out of his ass. I would have been fired by now, but I would have refused those orders just like Admiral Halsey did. And those submarine commanders, I guarantee you, we could be dropping targets left and right. I mean, we can have 4 firing solutions. We could start dropping, sinking ships left and right in this blockade. It won't happen. Why? We could sink every ship until we're running out of torpedoes and harpoon missile and tomahawks. And then guess what? Now what? We're still the Strait of Hormuz is still closed. Iran is in the driver's seat. Iran won the war. It's done. But the American people just believe whatever they're told, and thank God for this channel to get the word out. I just talked to a woman the other day before yesterday. She's living in another country, and she honestly, when I was trying to explain to her, giving her information, she's like, "What are you talking about? America is winning this. They're going to take everything back." I said, "What are you talking? What? They're going to take everything back from what? The war's going to be over soon. What? Who? What?" And she was listening to mainstream, reading news, listening to Fox type news and propaganda.
Real fast, I looked on YouTube earlier just to add on to what you're saying, and every single headline discussing what's happening right now was completely trying to frame it and in the favor of the Zionist entity. every single video, every single news source, Canadian broadcasting, local news, every single thing was saying that the U.S. was putting Iran in its place and preventing them from striking back and holding up the ceasefire. So this is the type of exact goy slop you are talking about. People are eating right now.
Andrew, what an
Exactly.
insult! What
Yeah.
an insult!
Yeah.
What an insult for now to talk about integrating the U.S. Armed Forces with the diapered forces on the around the anniversary of the USS Liberty, which you just mentioned a while ago. That's an insult.
Exactly. Exactly, because you'll ask any person, what was the U.S. or what the USS Liberty, what, and 99.9% will say, what are you talking about? Is that a new movie? Or is that a new, is that a new fashion? What? Yeah, exactly. And it's a slap in the face. If people only realize that they salute the flag, God bless America, if they only realize the ongoing, perpetuating evil. And I'm sorry, I looked in through my Oxford hard copy dictionary. I have volumes. I study that. I can't find a word other than the E word, evil, that America is part and parcel to. And all of this, God bless America, I removed my license plates that said God bless America. I removed those 4 years ago. And I love my country, but I'm speaking the truth. We have to stop this. For those new listeners, I lost my son in that war for weapons of mass destruction. I buried good men and a good woman in that war. I literally saw my shipmates fall, shot down, killed, shot down. I was in Beirut, Lebanon, and it will take me an hour to explain the hell that was going on, and I didn't even know it. I really was told, we are here to keep the peace. And then in the morning, I would see a plume of black smoke go up. I would see a bright yellow flash followed by red. And then 3 seconds later, you'd feel the shock wave, and then you'd hear the poof, the explosion of these massive ordnance. This is Israel, Israel, National Zionist Israel, shelling into innocent people, and we were being told, "Oh, yeah, there's a ceasefire, it's a stand down." But yeah, they found a terror cell. Nothing to see here. I found out recently that in the night after we had arrived, 300 and some. You can look this up, and I have the receipts. Over 300 and some innocent men, women, mostly women and children, were slaughtered, were murdered by the IDF, and that Christian faction that was doing God's work. Yeah, I'll leave it there. So we thought the Marines were escorting innocent men, women, and children out of those two camps. They weren't. They were like standing there, nothing to see here, move along. I would ask stupid questions. I was only a lieutenant junior grade. What do I know? I asked a stupid question. When we get our rules of engagement, why are we told, don't worry about the IDF, but yet the IDF is bombing the hell out of everyone? And why are we told, don't worry about the IDF? And, oh, let's hope we're not collateral damage, but don't worry about them. Well, what do you mean, don't worry about them? Where are they? They're in their zone. What does that mean? Their zone. They're not involved in this, but they just shelled some people. I'm sick of it. I am so sick of it, people. Thank God for Iran. Thank God that they're making a stand. They're the only thing that's standing between Pax Judaica. We talk about this. If it wasn't for Iran making this bold stand, it'd be game over. They would have steamrolled right through there. God help the world. So I think God has raised up that country. And if anyone says, oh, but they're Muslim extremists. Oh, really? Okay, well, you want to see some, quote, Christian extremists do their work? Do you want to see what Christian Zionism has done to my country, the United States of America? They could talk about that for an hour. So thank God we have the space to speak out against this. And Zaid, love you, brother. And I hope someday I can bring my family to Jordan and hang out with you. And I want to go to Iran. I want to go back to Lebanon. I want to go back to, I love that country so much. I wept and I wept when I stood there on the bridge when we were getting ready to leave. The carnage that I saw, and I said, these people, this is not happening, but it was. You just learn how to block things out. If I didn't block it out of my mind, I think I would have lost my mind, honestly. You just block it out. And now, these years later, here I am, an old man, looking back at that, and I heard, I think it was brother said, Tamu said it, or White, someone said, hey, I'm glad that Rex admitted he messed up. He was pushing Trump. Well, thank God I knew Trump was bad news from day one. I never voted for him. I haven't voted since 1972, but I was even worse than Rex. I was in the United States military doing God's work, say God's work, doing the work for the free, the brave, and the land of the brave and the free. And we were imposing sanctions, causing the death of thousands of people. And today, our munitions are killing men, women, innocent lives. IDF, I don't know how many they killed today, but the count just goes up into the tens, the hundreds, the thousands of innocent lives being killed. No, murdered. Murdered. It's genocide. And here the United States is just looking the other way. So please speak up. Do what I do and others. Speak up, share the space, share it with your friends. Tell them that no, you just can't look the other way. You have to, and oh, by the way, don't vote your way out of this. I'm sorry. If you vote and if you're involved in the two-party system, you're deceived. Vote completely out of it. Would use financial means to work a different system out of it. In the meantime, just keep resist, and speak against it. Speak out against it. So I'm sorry I rambled so much, but love you all. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Andrew. Guys, make sure to retweet the space, reshare the space, let everybody know we're live. Let's try and get as many people in here as possible. Jump in, White.
At the number of injuries since ceasefire with launched 803.
Say again.
The Israel Ministry of Health has announced that 9,109 injuries since the start in February, and that there's I just said a different number, but it was that's from the start from today, I think. There's also fighter jet activity being reported over Tehran at this very moment.
Cool. Jump in, Silver Sailor.
Ohio gozaimasu. Salute to our veterans. Thank you, Suleiman, for the microphone. I really enjoyed the Aaron Day interview. I knew you would like him. But let me do my thing real quick and we'll get rolling. Welcome to today's segment of Anti-War Veteran Minute with Silver Sailor. I'm going to honor the USS Liberty survivors and the fallen by reading two quotes by some survivors. They didn't just throw us under the bus. Israel and our own government put a knife in our spine. And one more. This attack lasted as long as the attack on Pearl Harbor, and yet LBJ and McNamara recalled aircraft sent out to help us. Remember the fallen. Salute to our veterans. Love you all. Silver Sailor out.
Suleiman, if I could thank you, Suleiman, I could real quick add to that. I took all of the notes from Phil Turney and others that I've listened to, and I put in and added in some additional information, and I have it. It's not people. There are so many false narratives out there and lies and from hell. And even if you use AI, especially Grok, it'll tell you, oh, no, that's a conspiracy. It was a complete mistaken identity. There was an IFF problem, identification friend and foe problem. No, 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 no. Literally, the IDF not only knew it was an American ship, the Americans, Phil Turney even said they changed to their quote holiday colors. What does that mean in English? The Navy has two types of ensigns. An ensign is the flag, United States of America. They have their at sea, and Silver Sailor can tell you when we shift colors from a port color from bow to stern, we raise the ensign on our main staff up there, up above the bridge. They even changed that flag to a holiday color flag, meaning a very large American flag. They thought, my God, do they think who? They still kept bombing and torpedoing and shooting from the air. And that's how incompetent these imbeciles are. They couldn't even sink a 3,000-ton ship. Come on. That's how incompetent they are. But thank God they didn't sink. I'm just making a comment. So, no, and what's even worse, the United States of America, God bless America, they gave a stand down order. I have all the receipts. John McCain's father, he was at Cincus Navier. Cincus Navier runs the Sixth Fleet. He got the battle. We're being under attack. We're under attack. Send help. Send help. The Carrier Strike Battle Group was well within a few minutes away by aircraft. Stand down. How every one of those bastards, those men that took that stand down order, they'll stand before God someday. I can't tell you the rage I feel. Their brothers were being murdered, were being slaughtered, and they did the stand down order. LBJ gave Admiral Lyons, Admiral John McCain's Cincus Navier command. The JCS gave the command, and the Carrier Battle Group commander, everyone said, stand down, nothing to see here. Can you believe it? That's where we are. That's what our country does in a heartbeat. Know that. Remember that. And when we were out there on boat patrol at night, we were told, oh, if a round comes in, and you could hear this sizzling sound through the air when they were launched. If you're in the way, oh well, you were collateral damage. You're just a number. You're nothing, you piece of meat suit. You're expendable. What do you think happened when they buried that young man after Fallujah? They asked me to speak with the mother. The mother couldn't speak English. It was a Mexican family. I speak Spanish. Soy bilingüe. And I told my son with 2nd Ranger Battalion, I said, why in the hell do you want me to go talk to the mother, have your commanding officer talk to him? I'm a retired commander. I know how it works. And you know what they said to me? We don't want to talk. We can't bear to talk to that woman. She's really upset. Of course she's upset. And all I could tell that woman, she said, ¿Por qué lo hicieron? I was like, why did this happen? I said, because I thought, well, I've got to tell a little white lie. I can't tell her the truth. So I told her a little white lie. He died in service of his country, ma'am. Thank you for your service. Yeah. And I felt horrible. I couldn't sleep for 2 days. I was like miserable. Now, today, if I saw that young woman, you know what I'd say? I'm sorry. Your husband died for nothing. He was killed for nothing. But at least you got some money coming in. That's better than nothing. So, hey, salute. Thank you for your service, ma'am. So, yeah, today is a day, remember the liberty. I'm glad Silver Sailor said that. Thank you.
Thanks for that. And let's go to Andy.
Yeah, we absolutely must remember the liberty because, I mean, that's just one more example in a long list of subversive and outright violent events of Israel. And we have to remember, like, they pretend we're their friend, but they view us as an enemy. They seek to destroy us just as well. They obviously can't openly admit they wanted to bring down the West because they still need to use us. They say, hey, we want to destroy the Muslims, and then they get a bunch of idiots to fall for that. but they ultimately want to bring down the West too. They want to bring down everyone in expansion of their goals. That's what Zionism does. It's them only. They don't believe in making peace or working with anyone outside of their ideology. So whether it's Zionist Jews, Zionist Christians, or Zionist Muslims, and when they get their way, they're going to turn on the Gulf states too. Like they'll turn on anyone, and they have turned on the Gulf states. I mean, just look at it. Like these Gulf states are getting bombed. Like the UAE, for example, is still in bed with them despite getting absolutely wrecked economically. And it's Stockholm syndrome where you identify with your captors. I mean, that's you have the UAE doubling down basically throughout all of this, despite them getting hit like the worst economically out of everyone. Like, yeah, the US is taking a hit economically, but it's not like our all of our income is not relying on the strait. Like, yeah, the people here are struggling a bit with higher prices to an extent, but we don't have an entire natural resource based economy and an investment economy that's completely cratered from this. So that's what people need to understand, that this is a poisonous ideology that infiltrates and corrupts. And I think and more people like are learning about the USS Liberty. And we've seen this, like when Nicky Rudd confronted Ben Shapiro and he got more influence. And then you had the entire Daily Wire try to destroy this young kid for asking Ben Shapiro a question, and it completely backfired. And the Daily Wire just keeps losing subscriptions. Right after that happened, you had Ben Shapiro advertising on billboards and screens in Times Square on New Year's Eve, desperate to get subscriptions, and his numbers still kept declining because nobody wants to subscribe and pay for a subscription to a pro-genocide thing anymore. Like he became big initially because he was like originally kind of like the trailblazer in digital conservative media, but then after October 7th, everyone's like, wait a minute, this guy is pushing an evil ideology. The boomers that might agree with Ben Shapiro are all gonna watch Fox News, so there's nothing left for someone like this guy, and just the entire mainstream media has completely lost their credibility. Like I think the mainstream media might be close to honestly just well, they already are on their last gasp because their viewership is 90% ages 55 and up. And this isn't an all boomers are bad thing because there's plenty of older people that don't watch Fox News, and there's some young people that fall for the propaganda. But just like young people aren't going to get over the age of 55, then all of a sudden are going to be like, yeah, I'm a Zionist. I'm going to watch Fox News, or I'm going to watch CNN. Like, that's not how that works. So in 10 years, when those people, like, when these people are dying off, like, these networks are going to go under. And after this war's over, after all these people have heard from Fox News, we're winning, we're winning. Iran's been defeated 100 times. The Straits, when they heard 8 weeks ago that Iran's going to have to shut in its oil wells, and then when this deal ends up getting signed, whether it's in a month, whether it's in a year, I think it's gonna hit some of these people so hard, and they're gonna be like, what the heck? I trusted Jesse Waters, I trusted Sean Hannity, I trusted Trump, and then they're gonna be like, I was lied to. And I think even some of these most dedicated Fox News viewers that believed Fox News was real news and it was only the left wing media that was fake, I think even they're gonna turn on this media machine because they're gonna realize they were lied to, and that no, we didn't win this war. When Iran gets a deal that gets sanctions lifted, they're gonna be like, what the heck? Even under Obama, there were still sanctions, and I thought that was a bad deal. What the heck happened here? Because they have this impression that Trump's going to win this war and Iran's going to be back under complete sanctions and is going to have no enrichment. It's going to be a total American victory, and there's literally no scenario that's going to allow that to happen. So it's just, I feel like there's going to be a real mental reckoning for a lot of people, and I think viewership for the mainstream media is going to just completely collapse after this, and people are just going to stop watching because they're going to realize they've been lied to. There's no way you can spin this. They can't blame this and say, oh, it's the Democrats that screwed up in Iran. Trump's president, it's a Republican Congress. They can't say this is Obama's fault. There's no spin here. So whenever this deal is signed, I think people are just going to shut off the TV, and these companies are going to be in for a rude awakening. And the mainstream media does need to go away, and people need to be getting real news from independent journalists on here. People need to be listening to people like Solomon, Anthony Aguilar, just anyone like us that isn't getting paid by a Zionist.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of what you had to say there. The only bit I disagree with was Ben Shapiro was never a trailblazer. He was a manufactured individual that was pushed out to the people, and his positions were always the mainstream positions, but they just manipulated you into thinking that they weren't.
Well, I didn't say like he was kind of like the trailblazer in that digital space. Not his views weren't trailblazing. He was kind of just like the first in the conservative digital space. Didn't say his views were revolutionary.
Yeah,
Like
even that was because it was manipulated. He was created. He was a created entity. He was pushed by the algorithm intentionally.
well, yeah, he had a lot of money behind him, but I'm just saying he was the first in that space.
Not just money. The algorithm on YouTube. So this is there's a number of studies done on this. So what would happen is, if there was people, which there are, like our supporters, who don't follow the mainstream position and think outside the box, they'll be questioning the mainstream position, the mainstream narrative. So what they would do is the algorithm, not the money is in addition to this, the YouTube algorithm and all the social algorithms, what they would do is throw up Ben Shapiro and Jordan Peterson to people, thinking that these guys are, as you said, trailblazers and have some kind of outside of the box thinking. And so they pushed them onto the people, and that's how they were able to grow their faith. So I'm saying he was not a trailblazer in any regard. He was just a created outcome by those in power. But yeah, I agree with everything. I just wanted to highlight that. Go ahead, Trauma.
There's a report coming out within the last hour from Ken Klippenstein in DC, where he's basically received leaked deployment orders for elements of the 82nd Airborne that have been deployed forward that are actually based in Israel. And as far as I'm concerned, the first thing that came to my mind when I was reading this article was what Andrew was saying earlier in regards to your question. I hope that what Andrew says takes place, and I hope this is all power projection in order to establish this self-imposed image of dominance, because otherwise we're looking at a complete massacre on our hands for a lot of the people that have no business being there in the first place. And they've really brought it upon themselves if they choose to ratchet it up and keep going up the escalation ladder throughout this next year. Because I'll be honest with you, I was a part of a canine program in the military that was founded by dual Israeli American citizens that basically they brought this program into the Marine Corps and the Army, where they were using sporting breed dogs to do IED detection back when the American military was getting absolutely pounded by FPV IEDs in the streets. So I'm very, very well aware of their disdain for anything positive or natural in life, and they have absolutely no respect for any of us, as I'm sure we all know hearing this. But when I think about the long-term plan, I think about, why would the U.S. military assign deployment orders to Israel for like the forward unit? And that speaks to me like they're planning for the long term, that even if an agreement is signed, even if I hope that we avoid a global catastrophe, I hope this is the case, I'm very worried about what's going to happen after the midterms, and what's going to happen, of course, once the summer heat dies down. Because sending units forward on deployment orders is one thing, but sending them on orders, assigning them to Israeli installations, that's like a nuclear siren airing in the back of my head when I read that. So I put it in the purple pill if anyone wants to read it. But I just wanted to add that.
To add on to what he's saying, I don't know if it's the same source, but it's saying while the Pentagon publicly stated only that the unit was deploying to the Middle East under Central Command, it did not disclose the Israel deployment. The deployment was linked to U.S.-Israeli contingency planning developed since February for ground operations that would involve them seizing Kharg Island and parts of Iran's coastline. The 82nd Airborne, a rapid response force trained for airborne assaults, still has personnel in Israel, although no immediate ground operation is expected. The source is from Glenn Klippenstein.
Which is really wild, because I heard a rumor just a couple of days ago, people talking about there were U.S. military, U.S. Army 82nd Airborne troops that were actually killed in action along the border in Lebanon. And they're covering that up as well to hide the actual true cost of this war. So when I hear things like that, and people, take it for a grain of salt, obviously the Zionists will never admit to it because that'll make America look bad. But if I think about who's controlling the levers of power right now, and can all see with our own eyes and our own, we use our brains, we can see that the pedophile Zionist entity is currently running the show. I have exactly 0% faith in them to do the right, humane, or thoughtful consideration for the rest of us. So I just want to add that on to it. I couldn't help. This was all running through my mind when Andrew was speaking, because I hope what Andrew says is true. Otherwise, we're looking at a really bad situation. Thank you.
Well, I don't want to keep tooting our own horn, but if you remember, around that time, it was on this space that we were talking about how things are being planned for a ground assault on Kharg Island, and how the 82nd Airborne Division was going to be deployed to be able to use it. So now you've got confirmation. So this is why you got to follow this space. We're always months ahead. It's nice 2 months later, we got a confirmation of exactly what we were saying. But Andrew, what do you think about that? Because you didn't think that. I mean, what's your thoughts about that, Andrew?
Yeah, I was right there with you even before I go back. You're working with you, Suleiman, and let's go back 100 and about 5 days ago, we called it, said within the next 24, 48 hours there would be war. War would have to, it'd be, a conflict. There would be, the United States would back Israel. It would go kinetic. There would be a full force of air power and missile strikes. And a lot of pushback came, but it happened. Then when we agreed, and I agreed with you, there would be kinetic action. The United States would do some form of an insertion, a strategic strike insertion, not a massive ground invasion. And you were even more specific. You would say, yeah, they're going to come in. And Anthony Aguilar came in with that. And bam, after that, quote, so-called rescue of that downed pilot that now is a superhuman that did the impossible. We now know for a fact that you called that out precisely, exactly correct. So I have that knowledge, and that's why I have to carefully weigh what's going to happen here in the future. I can't discount how you nailed that, and how Anthony Aguilar and others, Larry Johnson, nailed that. So I'm really kind of hanging out there on the limb by saying I think it'll be some tit-tat, some strikes, but nothing significant. But man, I tell you, maybe I'm just hoping and praying it doesn't. But the evidence, the cake is, the ingredients are all there. I mean, it's. I know that I'm really sticking my neck out there, Suleiman. The evidence is strong. They're going to do something. Of course, there's going to do something, but I just can't see it being that significant that the experts are saying. So I kind of look stupid saying I disagree with the experts, but I'm saying I don't think it'll be that extensive. But man, you can't argue with success, and only a fool would say, "Oh no, it did. No, it happened. We saw what happened." So. Yeah, doesn't look good.
Has anybody read the article, the entire article? Does it give a reason of why they didn't end up go ahead with it?
No, the entire article, you're talking about this the very last, or you're talking about the failed mission to snatch and grab that they said was a rescue a down pilot?
No, I'm talking about Kip, what's his name? Ken Klippenstein. We've had him before, haven't we? Is it the same guy we've had on the show? Is that a different guy?
Yeah.
But Ken.
I think it's the same guy.
Is it? He's saying that they were deployed to Israel in order to take Kharg Island. I'm asking, does the article explain why they didn't end up going ahead with it, or not?
I don't think it does.
Interesting. Okay. Let's. Okay. Cool. Mango, thanks for joining us. Anything you want to add?
Yeah, I just saw the stuff about the 82nd Airborne deploying to Israel to potentially do operations. So yeah, that's something that we kind of noticed back when that happened, that it wasn't acknowledged what they were going to do, but it was reported on that they were being mobilized and sent to the Middle East. So it looks like, I don't know what else happened during the day today. I know last night there was the exchange with Israel and Iran, and then they did the Trump started jumping up and down and having a panic attack and said everyone was going to do a ceasefire. But Israel, then there were a bunch of reports that Israel was attacking a bunch of targets in Lebanon after that. So did Iran do anything during the day today to retaliate?
Yeah, no,
You had
that's what we've been waiting for.
you had engagement between Hezbollah and Israel throughout the day. So I'm guessing those were like the last strikes before the agreement is made. But then Israel has continued bombing, so I'm not sure actually about that one. We'll have to see. But Iran hasn't responded yet, no.
Yeah, I mean, Trump said they were within days of getting. He said, I think Monday to Wednesday is we're going to have a deal. So, I don't think that's true, but that's what Trump said. Let's see if it happens.
The article does say Charlie Company of the 2nd Battalion is still in Israel, from which no dispatches have emerged in 2 months. So basically saying that they're not sure if a ground operation is imminent or inevitable, but it's looking like that's going to be that might be happening. I mean, at least some type of conflict.
I mean, it sounds like the preparations were made in early April, and we're now 2 months later, and it hasn't happened. So it's not very likely at this point. It seems like Trump is very dead set against escalation. So I think the only reason that he did that kind of thing was to try to have it as a bargaining chip in the negotiations.
Yeah, that makes sense.
By
Some
the
type of
way,
leverage.
yeah, for the Strait of Hormuz, it looked like the United States was helping a lot of ships, especially smaller ships, sneak out the Strait of Hormuz. Not really big ships that would have been, I guess, more obvious, but smaller ships sneaking out through the South Coast, like I've been saying for a long time that they should have been trying to do. But I did see in the last 24 hours, one of these ships got hit by some kind of a naval drone. And when you see, there were some pictures that were posted of it, it definitely is a smaller ship. So it looks like maybe Iran found one of these ships that was sneaking around and managed to hit it with a naval drone.
Yeah, I think both sides have been doing spoofing. From my understanding, actually, Iran's managed to get more ships out through spoofing. But yeah, of course, you can sneak a few out through spoofing, for sure. That's the whole aim of it. You're scared of the other side in the sense of you don't want the other side to see what you're doing, so you kind of switch everything off. So both sides have had a number of ships go through by doing that. So Manko, on what you're saying, so you probably hold a similar position to Larry Johnson and the rest of them, where they believe that a deal is imminent. They think that the Gulf states have kind of very confident that there's going to be a deal. Pakistan believe that there's a deal. They believe they've got Trump on board. So you think that's happening, right?
No, my position has always been that I think I think Iran is playing Trump and making him think that there's a deal, so that then whenever something happens that Trump doesn't want, like Israel bombing Lebanon, Iran can be like, oh, Trump, you better make Israel stop bombing Lebanon or it's going to blow up this deal. We're so close, Trump. Why are you letting them blow up the deal? So stuff like that, I think that Iran is playing Trump. The reason for this is I know what the minimum US position would have to be. Like, there's no way that the US would agree to the vast majority of the terms that Iran is talking about. And I know the minimum sort of things that Trump would have to put in a deal for it to be even like politically possible for him without an enormous backlash, which would then he'd have to back down off entirely. And I'm sure, remember, there are people who are close to Trump who are very favorable to Israel. Like, these people are going to be leaking information. So, and there was a bunch of news reports about Israel having an extremely aggressive spying operation on Trump's deliberations and negotiations and stuff. So Trump is constrained in what he's allowed to agree to. He cannot give Iran a sweetheart deal. At the same time, I do not see how it could be possible in any universe that Iran, especially the IRGC, agrees to the things that are the minimums that Trump would have to have in a deal. I just don't think the sides are close enough to actually have a deal. If there is a deal and it is announced and it is imminent and all that, I would be absolutely shocked, especially if it's a real deal that actually is concrete. Because remember, the ceasefire wasn't really a real deal. Both sides said different things about what they thought the ceasefire represented. And the only thing they agreed on is that they stopped shooting each other. Trump stopped bombing and Iran stopped shooting the missiles and drones. But everything else they completely disagreed on, like the Hormuz and all sorts of the like stuff in Lebanon, all that other kind of stuff. So if this is a real deal where they actually both sides are agreeing on all the main points, now maybe not details of the nuclear program, but if they actually have a deal where Iran agrees to open the Strait of Hormuz, like actually open it with no tolls, which is one of the minimum things Trump would have to have. He's not going to agree to tolls. There's no political way that would be like feasible or possible. I don't see Iran giving that up, like unless they get something big in return. And Trump has been very clear and said publicly, we are not going to give them any frozen assets until maybe later, maybe if they do the nuclear thing and like after everything's said and done, we'll do it, but not as part of the deal. And I just don't see why Iran would agree to that. So I don't think we can do a deal.
But then you're saying Iran's playing Trump to what end though? Like, what's the utility?
Because they get two important things that benefits Iran. Number one, Iran believes time is on their side because as long as the Strait of Hormuz is closed, you know, Trump is blockading Iran, but Iran is blockading every Gulf state. The blockade that Iran is inflicting is an order of magnitude bigger than the blockade Trump's doing to Iran. So every day that passes, sure, Iran has to accept some economic harm from the blockade of its ships, but then it is inflicting so much more economic harm that especially the IRGC has been very clear that they believe time is on their side. And over time, the damage to other countries is going to outweigh the sort of hardship that Iran has to endure in order to obtain its objectives. And the IRGC is very happy to endure hardship in order to obtain victory. So that's number one, is it buys them time, which in and of itself is good enough. And number two, they're able to play Trump to extract concessions in other areas. So they're using this, and I think even the foreign, like the diplomats and the foreign ministry and stuff, have said that the negotiations are a continuation of the war through other means. So they're using the negotiations to achieve military objectives, and they're doing that successfully. And this is one of the reasons, like, I've been very critical of Trump, especially for the last couple of weeks, where I think Trump has been constantly showing weakness. I think Trump has been essentially inviting Iran to be aggressive, which is why Iran started doing some of the things it did and had to flare up with Israel and all that. When you show weakness, you're the hegemon, you're the United States, you're the most powerful country. And when you show weakness, everyone else is like, it's our turn. We get to step up and fill the power vacuum. So I've been very critical of Trump. I think he has been very weak. And I think Iran has completely exploited this for its benefit. And I don't see how we go from that state of affairs, which is where we are today on June 8th of 2026, to Iran basically signing a deal that would, I don't see how they could sign any deal that Trump would accept that doesn't amount to Iran lost the war.
Manko,
Just to add
let
to
me just add.
just to add to your point, and I give it to you, Ziad.
Sure.
Another way Iran is benefiting
by this dragging out is, if you look at the American movement of military assets into the region, they've largely stopped now. They've kind of had everything they need for a while. There's not much more they can add in terms of from this perspective. Whereas if you look at Iran, they're constantly producing missiles and drones and various things. So they're building up fast. So the longer this ceasefire goes on, the bigger Iran's power becomes as well.
Yeah, I mean, they've been digging out the damage done to the tunnels and everything so that they have a lot of their missile stockpiles.
Yeah. Great point.
That weren't accessible, and they're able to make them accessible and be able to use them in the future.
Basically, total Iranian victory. But go ahead, Zad.
Like Suleiman.
Yeah.
And in these circumstances, would you do a deal? Because if I was Iran, I wouldn't do a deal.
I would personally do a deal. Because if it's true what is being said, so that Trump has, I know you're saying he hasn't, but from what I understand, Trump has capitulated. First of all, I agree with you. I think the chances of getting a deal are not going to happen and I don't think it's over the issues that you're saying. I think the biggest one is Lebanon. I think the nuclear issue is easy to make a deal. You can go for like 3.67%. You can dilute the rest of the nuclear enriched uranium under IAEA supervision. Trump's already agreed to that in Iran. You could possibly even put a small freeze of like 3 to 5 years. That's it, job done.
But that's phase 2, Suleiman.
Sorry?
The current thing is that Iran would have to let go of the Strait of Hormuz. And like, why would they do that? What are they getting in return?
Nuclear, you agree with. It's not hard to make a deal, right?
Wait, say that again?
So I'm going with each element, but with the nuclear, you agree it's not too hard to make a deal.
I think it is because Trump is stuck on that he has to remove the nuclear material out of Iran or destroy it, and has to eliminate the
But he put out a tweet saying that he doesn't want that anymore.
I didn't see that.
In the tweet,
did he do that today or something?
No, like 2 weeks ago or something. He said, I, as the president, I'm paraphrasing here, I, as the president of the United States of America, have decided that it's better for us as United States that Iran keeps the nuclear enriched uranium in Iran and it gets diluted in Iran under the World IAEA Authority or something along the lines. And by the way, I'm paraphrasing what I said, but roughly that's what he said. So he's already conceded that publicly on a tweet on Truth Social. When I say tweet, I mean post. So again, that's what I'm saying. I think the nuclear is not hard to make a deal. Even the Strait, I think they could come to like some kind of mechanism where it's not a toll, it's like kind of environmental operating fee where they operate. I think you could get to a deal on that one as well. Lebanon was always going to be, in my view, the one that would not, well, for me, Lebanon and ballistics, but it looks like Iran and Trump have already, Israel and Trump have already given up on this idea of taking ballistics away from Iran. So now it's basically the Lebanon issue that there wouldn't be a deal on. But go ahead, Joe, jump in.
Yeah, just from Menko's point, who from your perspective started this? Because I just need clarification from you.
Started what?
Who started this whole
Why would you do that, Joe? He was sounding so reasonable up until this point, and now he's going to sound crazy.
That's fine. I'm just trying to get clarification. Who's at fault here?
You mean started the war? Well, the U.S. and Israel bombed Iran. That's what started the war.
Okay, so Israel is the one in the right here because they're the ones that got attacked, right? I mean, sorry, Iran is the one. Iran is the one in the right here because they're the ones that got attacked.
I mean, I don't think every single war the defender is automatically in the right. It's possible to start a war and have it be a valid or justifiable war or something.
Is that the case here? Is this a justifiable war?
I mean, that's obviously the space is 100% dead set against that. But I think if you look at Trump's perspective, he said Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon, and he felt this was the only way to do that.
But I'm asking your perspective.
That my perspective isn't relevant, Joa.
Well, I think it is because you speak to thousands of people every day, and as of I don't know 2 weeks ago, you've kind of changed your position to, Iran is outsmart. Look how it's almost the way I'm taking it is look how bad these Iranians are. They're even able to manipulate our president. He's so backed into a corner that he has no way out. Like
Wait,
that's what
how
I
does
feel like
that
you're
make them
doing.
bad? Doesn't that make them smart and Trump stupid?
Well, you just said
They
that they
got
deserve
outsmarted,
it.
Joe. Checkmate on Trump, Joe. Why is that a bad thing? Checkmate.
Because the way I do it comes from Manco, and maybe this is just a bias. It just makes it seem like look at this evil people that are able to
Yeah, no,
manipulate our
you're
U.S. president.
you're putting that in. It's look,
I
I'm not
am, and
mad
that's why I'm
at
asking you to
Iran for
clarify.
trying to listen. When you're fighting a war, you can't be mad at the other side for trying to win. I'm mad at Trump for being such a loser because he's representing my country and he's doing a bad job and he's embarrassing the United States and Iran is eating his lunch.
But
True,
Manco,
he is eating his lunch, but why did Trump go there when you know there was no nuke, right? Even our own intelligence says there's no nuke. The only people from our side saying that there is a nuke are people who do not work in the intelligence agencies, right? Because the intelligence
Well,
agencies
no
keep
one
telling
I
us
don't
there is there
no one
is
thinks there's a
there is no
nuke
nuke.
except wasn't it like Larry Johnson or something? I don't know anyone else who thinks that they have nukes.
Well, Pete Hegseth, I guess, also kind of said it. What's his name? The guy that looks
Some
like Grandpa Munster. What's his name from Florida?
Wait,
redacted
Suleiman,
news.
who's the guy you interviewed who said he thinks Iran already has a nuke?
That was a lot of people. Pep,
Yeah.
wasn't it Pepe Escobar,
Larry
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 Johnson?
John Larry Johnson Pepe. Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah,
and that would be now because, and I agree, they should. They at this moment they should get a nuke. Why? Because that's the only way to ensure they don't get attacked.
Joe, let me say this. Manco earlier said that he's disappointed with Trump, showing weakness for the past couple of weeks. But seriously, Manco, he showed weakness from day one. When he begged NATO to come and join, trying to build a coalition and stuff, that showed weakness, man. And when they did not respond, positively, that showed weakness. So he
It doesn't show
showed
weakness.
weakness from day one.
He
Yes,
was
yes, it
embarrassing
does.
them. The point of him saying
Yes,
that was to embarrass
no.
Europe and show that it didn't have any military capabilities.
Well, this is the way you look at it, but that's really, I mean, he wanted to build the coalition, and Europe is saying no, we're not going to fight this war. So that's
I'm
weak.
I mean,
amazed. I'm
they've
amazed
actually
that you're
said the
still out here
opposite.
saying that Trump is playing 5D chess. It's honestly hilarious. It's really funny.
That's not 5D chess. It's just a basic reality. And the US and Europe have sharply diverged in their sort of international relations views. And so Trump has been sort of embarrassing them multiple times lately. And one of the things is to show that Europe doesn't have the ability to actually project any kind of power, and it's dependent on the United
So
States.
when you embarrass your allies, that's weakness.
Europe is our allies.
Europe is not allied now.
No,
If they're not
they're not
allies,
allies.
then America's in an empire.
They're not the allies
Hate to tell
of
you.
the Trump administration or the American right. They hate us. They absolutely hate us, and they look as enemies. And
Yeah,
this
but
has been
Manco,
for a long
you're
time,
not
and
America.
it's starting
Manco,
to actually become out in the open.
Manco, the right is not just America is not just the right or Trump. America is America, right?
I mean, it is now. We won the election. Elections have consequences.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that this is America, right? I mean,
I said, it is now.
Okay.
Didn't Europe go with Bush? Didn't they support the right?
Well, that wasn't a right-left thing. That was a bipartisan thing.
What are you
like
talking about?
After
Everyone thought
9/11, it was overwhelmingly like all of the
everyone
people
said
in
Bush was
Congress
the
supported
devil.
all the war on terror stuff.
Yeah, and a majority of the American people said there were no WMDs. America's own intelligence said there was no WMDs. Germany said there was no WMDs. Multiple European countries said there were no WMDs, and still they went with America because they
I
supported the
mean,
right.
I was alive. I was alive back then, and I was watching the news, and I saw how Hillary Clinton and a bunch of other Democrats and all the Democrats were 100% like just as much on board
Yeah,
with the war as the
because they're
Republicans were.
two sides of the same coin, Manco, because they both do the same thing. Right? Saddam Hussein got taken out by the right. Gaddafi got taken out by the left. Saddam Hussein got taken out by the right. Like, do you understand that they both do the same thing? Like, and
Yeah, I mean, I don't really
how
think
is it,
that's true because Obama
Manco?
didn't
How
stop
is
the
it?
war. He doubled down.
Obama went after Gaddafi.
No, but
Right,
Obama also did the
which was
surge
on the
in
clean
Iraq and
break memo.
Afghanistan. Like he doubled down, even though his base was telling him they wanted him to end the wars. He did the opposite.
Do you
You're
believe
proving
that
him correct.
What a
yeah,
take.
exactly.
What a take.
Do you believe that the clean break memo predicted the future and they were able to see that Iran was going to be a nuclear threat in 2026, and that's why in 1997 they wrote them down as the last of the 7 that America must take out? Was that
Yeah, so I've read the
was that
clean break memo. I've read the clean break memo. It doesn't even talk about Iran.
Are
What?
you kidding me right now?
Kid, Mango, come on, bro.
You are
They're
just
number
Pull it up.
seven. They're
Pull it up.
number
It's
Gotta
not
be
seven.
long.
bait.
It's not long. Go ahead, pull it up. Cite me the page. I'll pull it up right now. I could just pull it up on Google. It's not a long document.
Wesley Clark put as Wesley Clark's speech. If we're talking about the same memo, right? 7 countries, 5 years, or 5 countries,
No,
7 years.
Wesley Clark is not involved in the clean break memo, Andrew.
Okay, then we're talking about a different thing. I thought
we're
you're
not
talking.
we're
Okay,
not talking about different things. I'm pulling it up. I'm just gonna ask
Wesley Clark. He was like,
Yeah,
"What the hell did I just hear?" Wesley Clark, that one.
Yeah, I'm pulling it up so we
Yeah,
can
so it says
see the
it's
context.
called a clean break, a strategy for securing the realm. It was prepared in 1996 by a study group led by Richard Pearl for Benjamin Netanyahu.
Where's
And
Richard?
one of the people,
Where does Richard Pearl live now, Manco? Take a
I
guess.
don't know, does he live in Israel now?
Yes, he does.
Yeah, not a surprise. I mean, listen, this was
he wrote
a
the
bunch
memo.
of Jews in the United States who were Zionists who were doing a sort of strategy document for Netanyahu back then. And I agree with a lot of the stuff people say about it. I read it, and it talks about.
If you read it, you can look at the Wikipedia
I have it open right
article.
now. It's only 6 pages.
Yeah, Iraq, Syria, Iran, Lebanon, Palestine, allied partners like Jordan and Turkey might also be included because they work closely. Depends on what threat they possess. They project.
Yeah, Iran's the last on the list. So.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think you're talking about something else with that other list. What you just said. So what you just said, what the memo talks about is primarily like Syria and Lebanon, and it goes through all that. It's not even thinking about Iran because back then Israel wasn't even really looking at Iran as a threat except through the proxies.
No, Manco, listen,
I'm looking up the actual document.
You guys talked about Saddam Hussein, who was taken out in 2003. Well, the plot started in 1982. So go research that.
What if we're all just looking at this all wrong? Because remember, Professor Morandi came on to an interview with Suleiman very early on into this whole thing, and he said himself, this is not about nuclear enrichment, because if it was just about nuclear enrichment, then we could have done this diplomatically. There could have been a solution. So, what if we're looking at this all wrong? And really, the goal is to achieve something in that list of all of the countries that you had just said, and that this is more like a, you know, they're doing their reconnaissance right now. They're doing these little strikes. They're thinking that they're going to weaken these smaller islands in front of Iran, and then they're going to do an incursion in there, and their goal is going to be, quote, we're taking the nuclear dust, as Trump likes to call it. But then they go into, maybe overthrowing the whole entire regime. And that just happens to be an outcome of theirs because, well, we were there anyway, right? Because their whole entire goalpost has changed from day one. First, we're going to save the Iranian people, we're going to liberate them. Then, when they realize literally the Iranian people don't want your liberation, they don't want your democracy, keep it where it is in your countries, right? And then they're like, oh, it's about the nuclear enrichment. The IAEA, the director of the IAEA, comes out on the first day of this bombing campaign they started on February 28th and said, actually, no, they were nowhere close to a nuclear bomb. That's just not true. And then everything is progressively changed. It's changed. It's flip flopped, and it's just like this mass confusion from Trump. So it's like people have to do mental gymnastics to even keep up with what he's even saying anymore. And all of this military buildup in the region is because they're going to do just like we had to go to Iraq and go get the weapons of mass destruction, right? So we're going to go in there and we're going to do this. I'm still on board with this is going to be a full-blown military campaign. And if it's like, oh, well, that would just be suicide. Well, duh, D-Day looked like suicide too. You know what I mean? And at first it really seemed that way. Vietnam was like a suicide mission too, like this jungle fighting that nobody was even used to. We've done a lot of stupid things, and these are psychomaniacs we're talking about. I don't think that they have their heads screwed on tight. And when you start to put in the religious fanatic aspect of it, which drives people to do crazy things, I think it's just going to be slow escalation into going into it. And I don't think, like the professor said, if it was solely about nuclear enrichment, it could have been done diplomatically. And I think Iran knows that it's not about nuclear enrichment. It's just not. So they can throw in these, we're going to have tolls. They can throw in Lebanon. They can throw in Gaza because the United States can never meet them there. Why? Because Israel will never let that happen. It's never going to happen. And so time is on their side because, like Minko said, the longer the strait stays closed, sure, Iran is going to, go through some stuff. But these are people that are beyond what you can even describe as resilient. When they have bombs going off in their country last night, these people are still out there in masses waving flags, and they've done it throughout the course of the war. They're out there waving flags, showing support like this is like a parade or something. It's insane. If you dropped bombs in America and we lost internet or something, people would be going mad in the streets. It would be all hell break. Like you just have to take off the internet across the United States and people would be driven into insanity. Like things would break. You know what I'm saying? So the America is far underestimating their adversary. They're far underestimating the people and what they're capable of pushing themselves to because they've already lived under, sanctions that have attempted to cripple them and they have not. And they know how to be steadfast in their fight. So I still think that we're looking at this the wrong way.
Okay, hi everyone. Sully, if you don't mind, I want to jump in because of the Wesley Clark.
Yeah, go for it, Dr. Tusa. Smash them.
I know, right? I'm back. She is back. Okay. So I am alive and well witness to General Wesley Clark, Tarita Parsi, who everybody knows, I think, because based on Sully's interviews with him. I used to work with Charita many, many years ago. And actually, he used to put these conferences kind of all over the US. And this was after the after the US-Iraq war, after US invaded Iraq. And I would say, I'm trying to recall the year, but I want to say like between 2006-ish to 2009-ish. That's when, we were helping Charita, etc. And he invited General Wesley Clark in one of the tours across the US. And I actually sat in front of General Wesley Clark when he was warning and talking about what he had heard and the documents he had seen. And he absolutely included Iran in one of those 7 countries that was going to be destabilized. And that's one of the reasons Tarita invited him. So, Sully, next time you interview him or in private, however you would like, ask him. He will tell you. One of the reasons he would invite General Wesley Clark as a guest speaker was precisely because of his position the general's position on what he had witnessed, heard, and saw in documents from, I guess, CIA and Pentagon about this sort of long-term plan that they had in mind. And he's on record. Videos are there, interviews are there, aside from my personal witness to his
Dr. Atusa, I
talks.
agree
And
with you. Do you know that he's supports the war against Iran, though? Do you know that, don't you?
what? Say that again.
So I agree with what you're saying, but do you know that General Wesley Clark is actually supporting the war against Iran?
Yes, and I was shocked when I saw that. And that's a 180-degree change. And maybe that's why Manco and maybe others who are more on the Republican side, they are under that impression that maybe he didn't say that. He absolutely said that. Absolutely. I would say to his face. Now, obviously, things change, people's ambitions change, their intentions and motivations change, and perhaps that is why he's changed his tune about this war with Iran. I would definitely like for you to ask Tarita if he has any idea of why General Wesley Clark's position about the war with the current war with Iran has changed from being completely opposing to it in sort of as a policy point of the US back then to invade and destabilize all these 7 countries, including Iran, versus now that he is supporting this war with Iran. I would really much love for you to ask Teresa that.
Yeah, well, I actually I didn't message him. Funny enough, I messaged him like an hour ago to get him on again this week. So hopefully we
That's
should
wonderful.
get him on again this week. Yeah, so I'll definitely ask him. But do remind me again before it happens, because my memory is not great.
Okay, for sure.
Awesome points though. Jump in. Anybody who wants to jump in?
Yeah, just to. I'll
go
let you
ahead.
go.
Anyone?
Okay, yeah, just to clear up, so I'll be quick, Drew. Yeah, Manco is technically right. It is not the clean break memo, although the clean break memo literally states how they want to reshape the geopolitical landscape of the Middle East, right? Then Wesley Clark came out and said there is a 7 countries in 5 years memo, which he talked about in 2007 and elaborated on it in 2000. Sorry, he talks about it first in 2003 and then elaborated on it in 2007. And the countries that are there are Iraq, Syria, Lebanon, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, and Iran. And in his book, he states it is to reshape the geopolitical landscape of the Middle East and North Africa. And this is why this document so often gets mixed in between the two, because the clean break basically says the same thing. And it does mention Iran as a problem and how they want the power to go to some leader in Jordan to control the Sunnis. But it lists the same exact 7 countries. It just says they were going to do it in different ways. And then a few years later, after 9/11, it seemed like they took a more aggressive stance per Wesley Clark. Yeah, I'm quite shocked, Suleiman. I didn't know he was actually in support of this war. But even then, when he talked about the 7 countries, it was kind of used to criticize Bush, which he didn't like, and Bush didn't like him. And now I guess maybe he likes Trump. And that's the only thing I think is probably different.
100% against Bush, 100% against his policy, Bush's policies at the time. And like you, Joe, I was 100% shocked when I think it was just a couple of months ago when I realized his position about the current war with Iran. And I'm really curious to know what changed his mind. And this whole plan of changing the picture in the Middle East, I don't know if Sully or someone else wants to jump in on that. It's funny because Mango left. He's allergic to my voice. I'm joking. Anyways,
another Iranian defeat against the USA Empire.
Exactly. It's so symbolic. Like he can't stand it.
Well, when you shed light on rats, they typically go back in the hole.
Oh my God. Thank you. Thank you for that. Thank you for that.
Dr.
Anyway,
Tusa and her flashlight.
But disavow,
that's
disavow.
hilarious.
That's getting a bit low. Let's keep it.
There's about sorry. But there's no way that
That's it.
General Clark would ever tell you why, but we know why. Come on. It's all about the mighty dollar.
Mm-hmm.
He's playing the game. And all those major flag officers, once they get there, and Anthony Aguilar, anyone will tell you about that. Ray talked about it, McGovern. They get to that senior rank, you gotta go political. And even your great leaders, if they get to that point and they flip the political switch, I'm serious. It's weird. I saw it happen going just from field grade to go from a lieutenant. Well, it's hard to put Navy to Army, same rank structure. But when I went up one rank structure to come into the senior ranks, right, it gets very different in how you speak. You got to speak, the talk, and they go from up to flag. That's generals, right? It's even worse. And so that's what happened. I'm not surprised. Honestly, I'm not surprised at all. Even when he said that, and I was still, I watched him when he was saying that live. And I said immediately to myself, I said, okay, well, you're not, in your heart why they're doing that. And you're part of the same team. You're on that same team. You're playing on the same team. So what's your deal? Why are you calling that out? And I think you said it, Dr. Tusa and Suleiman. He didn't like Bush. Joe, I'm serious. He hated Bush. And because I think Bush screwed up some of his plans, but that's a different subject.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what I'm just going to say that because someone, you guys can jump in. This whole plan of, changing the reshaping the trajectory of the Middle East, that region with these 7 countries, etc. Actually, there are books written. Some Persian writers have written about it because how it impacted Iran, obviously. That this original thought was from Brzezinski and Carter, during Brzezinski and Carter. Anybody else knows anything about that?
Absolutely. Zerbinski, I can never could pronounce his name right.
Brzezinski.
Yes, the brain. He was the Henry Kissinger. He was Henry Kissinger's protege, meaning he was an academic, a genius. I guess the guy had a photographic memory. Anyone that's been around that area knows who he was, and he was literally running the White House. He was Carter's brains, and he was very pro Russia. Extremely, he was also a closet hardcore Zionist, and he was definitely shaping the whole thing. He was the reason, honestly, of the failed Iranian rescue mission. It was his brainchild, and I don't have it in front of me. It's been a long time, but yeah. Thank you for bringing his name up, and you're right about that, Dr. Tusa. Bring some history into this. That was going on that time.
Appreciate that. I just want to bring Tim into the conversation quickly because we have got an interview in a few minutes. But go ahead, Tim, jump in.
Hey, Suleiman. Good to see you again, man.
How you doing?
Yeah, sorry we couldn't catch up Sunday, but I know people are talking about the current events right now, and I think the argument that was going back and forth is like why this is being started, etc. And the whole nuclear and weapons of mass destruction talk came up. And I just want to add my 2 cents to that. So, like, me and my co-host, we interviewed Joe Kent, and for people, I'm sure everybody knows who Joe Kent is, but he's the former basically former National Intelligence Counter Agency head director. And so, essentially, this is what he said. We asked him the question. He said, why did we attack Iran in the first place? And the reason why, from his perspective, was he said they never had a nuke. He said this is one of the reasons why he resigned. The real reason is that Iran was at a weak point from all of the different conflicts like that happened in Gaza, and all of the destabilizing of like the different rebel groups that Iran had in their entire network basically were almost eradicated at that point. So they said, well, it's better now than never, essentially. And that's kind of the point that he had. And I can get into specifics, but just to clarify, like, I mean, this is as close to the information as you can get. And this guy has nothing to hide. He's in the meetings that people aren't. So I kind of take that as like the most simple and clear explanation for why this all happened.
What, Israel thought this was Iran's weakest point?
Yeah, exactly.
That's
I
stupid.
mean, this is literally what Joe was talking about.
But that's so dumb.
So it's kind of like, I mean, think about it. Like Hezbollah had already been kind of attacked because of all the things that happened in Gaza. You had a Hamas that was basically gone. Even Yemen basically had its rebel groups having different controls in different regions fighting over like who controls the land. And then think about Syria as well. I mean, they took out the head. So it doesn't get better than that in terms of an explanation. And so, with Israel, but also the United States has interest to do this as well, because we're still in a second Cold War. So the United States interest is, we don't want a power vacuum either. Middle East is strategically important. It's in the center of the world. There's different abilities to control trade routes. And so when you look at the whole picture, long story short, I mean, if it wasn't the United States in the region, it'd be Russia or China. And so the United States can't allow that to happen. And that's what it is.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense as well, because US can do what Russia and China do and actually make a deal. But unfortunately, the American way is to, rather than make a deal with countries, is to invade countries and then to mass slaughter innocent civilians. And guys, if you're on the second YouTube channel, I've pinned the Moral Resistance channel. Click on the link and come across to the Moral Resistance channel. I'll be ending this channel in literally 60 seconds. But go ahead, Tim. Did you want to say respond to what I said?
All I was just saying, this is the thing that we wanted to talk with you on our show about, because this is the important distinction here, and a lot of people miss the bigger stories. But we can chat later about this. I know you're jumping into your interview, but it's definitely good to hear your voice. It's been a minute since we spoke.
Yeah, definitely. I need to message you as well, because I wanna get you on for an interview as well. So I want to message you. So definitely, thanks for coming, Tim. Appreciate it. True Margaret, did you want to jump in on something, because you wanted to say something, you didn't get a chance?
Yeah, I mean, is X gonna still be on, or are you going over to YouTube only after this?
Haven't decided yet. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, just some quick thing. Hi, Larry, the Houthis declared the total ban. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, I was just going to throw in the couple little news things. The Houthis declared a ban on Israel ships, so that's more supply chain problems coming up, and that other over Bandar, whatever that is over there. So that's not going to be good. I just wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about like why I mean, do you actually think, you don't think they have a nuke right now, but like redacted news and all that saying they're getting sources that say they might, but do you think it's important that they do? Is that what I was hearing you guys say?
No, what I was saying is that they explicitly don't have a nuke. I mean, the issue you could say is like how much they enriched the uranium was getting past civilian use, and then people could make that argument. But I mean, you can't get it's pretty clear that they didn't. And that's the whole reason why Joe can't resign. Like, he couldn't fulfill his role responsibly when he's literally the person that is responsible for finding terrorist attack threats across the world. And when you have that guy resign and basically say that this is what it is, I mean, you can't get any better than that justification.
You're not talking about that top intelligence guy from Israel, are you?
No. He's literally the United States counterterrorist directive.
But the Israel guy, the top intelligence was removed too because of something. Well, like redacted news is saying that they're getting reports that they might have a nuke. I don't say they do or anything, but I'm just saying maybe they removed him because he wasn't finding out the truth or something. But I thought the reason I was asking, I was like, I thought I heard Joe say they should have a nuke. Joe, do you think they should have a nuke?
As a country, true, and I don't think they pose a threat to America, or else I would never say that. But as a country, the only way to protect themselves from Israel or even America or even its neighbors is to actually have a nuke. Because countries with nukes don't get attacked, right? And from everything I've seen for the past 2 years, I've seen a country that, you know, prior to America attacking it, probably was seen as a pariah in the world by majority of the country. And then after watching them over these past years, you know, like the 12-day war where they didn't start and they only retaliated, and now again never started, only do tit for tat. Look, if I was a country and you hit me with one, I'm going to hit you with 10, right? That's not what they've done. They've gone one for one, right? This is not a country that's aggressive, which then made me look into their history and see that they haven't invaded a single country in God knows how long. It's probably like one of the countries that has least invaded in the past 100 years, right? Um, and then you go and look at IQ, and then you see, okay, look, China, South Korea, Japan, and then Iran with the highest intelligence, right? So then I go on YouTube and I look at videos, and I see tons of women's without the hair covering and walking around the mall while I'm being told, no, they're oppressed and blah, blah, blah. And then, yeah, I'm like, yeah, these people are being made a pariah when they're not. Their actions haven't shown it. The people that live there haven't shown it. Their intelligence level doesn't show it. And the only way for them to protect themselves is to get a nuke. Right. Um, and I really firmly believe that.
So I don't know if Solomon wants me to bring it up, but let me ask it this way. Why do you think America has this Islamophobia going on? I'll just ask it that way.
Because it needs to divide and conquer an area that has resources, right? So you know the old adage, like divide and conquer, right? So if you draw up fake border lines, like Britain did, and then America took advantage of, you put a player in there that constantly is expanding, which causes division within people as well. You know, you want that area. If you're America, you want that area divided because then it makes it easier for you to go and steal resources.